Fringe finale, you know, I knew some things going into it, as with the job, but I kind of just wanted to kind of just clear my mind and, like, absorb myself into it. So I shut off everything. I'm not good at shutting off technology. I shut off.
I know. Your phone beeped at the beginning of this.
I know. I had to turn it off. Sorry, guys. You guys are tweeting me. It's actually tweets.
They're mad already.
No, but to be fair, it was a Fringe thing because I put up the Seth thing.
Right.
So now you guys know we're in the timing of this thing. We're timing ourselves, or dating ourselves, whatever the words. And I kind of had the mentality that I was just going to write this series finale recap and just write it out. Like, I did that with season 3. I was up till 6 in the morning just writing. Which, yes, you want to mock me, fine. But if a show is good and you've got to rewatch, and then with Fringe, with the series finale, I actually ended up rewatching it and then writing down what I wanted to do, because I didn't want to have to be taking notes during the episode, whatever. So, time, whatever. And, you know, those final scenes, for as much emotionally they were fantastic, when you start to think about it, that's when things get a little bit complicated. Right. Because, you know, when the idea was first broached in The Boy Must Live, that then they actually made it canon, versus, you know, because people have been speculating that this was how it was going to end since actually the season premiere. Right. Then, you know, it got much, much louder in episode 4, and it's been pretty widely speculated throughout the run of the season. When it became canon, I actually spoke with Joel Wyman, who's the executive producer, before that episode actually aired, but after I had seen it. And, you know, I asked him, like, so if this happens, is anyone on the team going to be thinking about, if this happens, Peter is never actually going to ever come here because there would never have been that interruption, et cetera, because that one action, at least in the original timeline, what happened in the Amber timeline is still a little bit muddy, and which is, I think, also part of the problem, because while we know a lot of what happened, we still don't know a lot of it. Like, we do know that he tried to save Peter, but Peter drowned because September never actually saved him here. Right. But September still stopped over there. So
but if you're going back and you're just wiping out that entirely,
right.
I mean, should we assume that regular Peter was sick and died, and that Walter even needed to go to another universe to get Peter? Like, that's what I mean. Like, how much does that change?
I feel like this is gonna get so nerdy, guys. I'm so sorry. The thing is that it seemed like, from what I know of the series and what I think I've understood based on the ever-changing timelines, universes, time periods, etc., the most important involvement, the point where September's involvement actually became instrumental, was when at least for our team, was when he stopped Walter. So you would think that, in theory, that if he had not existed, Walter would have saved Peter, it would not have been an issue, and Walter would never have done that. Right. In theory.
And that's what I'm saying. Again, because we don't know.
Right. Because we don't know, and because it still ends up the same way, you are left with those questions.
Right.
And because...
And I mean, it's almost a good thing.
Yeah, it's because, nice...
You know, depending on what you, like, want to believe, you can kind of fit it onto your show, and it's an interesting take, because, you know, the fans have been so involved in the show in general, and I'm not a big proponent of telling my story based on what the audience wants to see if I'm a writer, but at the same time, when it's ambiguous like that, I feel like it can satisfy more people.
Right, and I will say, when I finished the episode and it ended, my thought was, oh boy, I have a feeling some people are going to be mad about this. And because I felt like, because, you know, when there are ambiguous endings, a lot of times people don't take well to that.
No, of course not.
And so...
But, I mean, I'm thinking more, I guess, of Lost, where, like, everybody was so mad. Part of the time...
I wasn't mad.
Okay, not everybody, but a lot of people were upset, and a lot of people also didn't fully understand the ending, and I think you have that here, too. Like, where because it's ambiguous, you don't really know how much...
You know, and it's funny, because I was talking about that with friends immediately afterwards. It very much, I had a lot of the same feelings about the ending of Lost that I did with the ending of Fringe. Okay. Whereas emotionally and character-wise, I was very satisfied with how the show made me feel, with how whatever. If you're asking me to explain the actual, like, the specifics. Like, I've watched that Lost series finale multiple times,
See,
and I can tell you what happens with these characters and how their journey ends. If you asked me what happened on the island with the plug and that kind of stuff, I get a little bit more iffy in being able to actually cohesively explain it. I can be like, well, so this sort of happened in that. I mean, it drives me fucking crazy when people are like, they were dead all along. No, they really weren't, guys.
What I guess I'm saying,
and that's my
because that misunderstanding is so
that,
much greater. Like you obviously know here,
right? And it's like
they're not dead.
And it's like that. It's like they tell you in the show they're not dead all along. What more do you need? Anyways, sorry, that's my
But part of it is you believe what you want to believe,
right?
And so like with Fringe, like I feel like with that ending, you can believe,
right?
Oh, they still were Fringe team. That's how they met. They still did all these things and saved the world, but they didn't get their family ripped apart at that moment of the invasion. The invasion never happened. They went on to do great things. Or I feel like you can believe, well, who's to say? Maybe he's a doctor and she's a teacher. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Right.
You know,
I mean,
because if also, you know, without Walter's presence, that also affects a lot of...
Walter was there, he just wasn't there until then.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So, like, it also...
He was there until then.
But that's what I mean, like, it affects the way that the other characters will react and respond and just generally make some of their decisions.
Right.